Please break that down because I've heard of zero-based budgeting. I'm curious what hybrid zero-based budgeting is.
For this, I need to tell you another story. This was during my days at Symantec. We were going through business transformation. We had our friends from Bain come over and do what we call this zero-based budgeting cycle. If I were explaining zero-based budgeting to layman, non-finance person, I basically say you start with a clean sheet of paper. Start from ground up. Here are the activities I need to do, and here are the resources I'm going to align to it, and here are the systems I'm going to get, and here are the processes I need. Simple. People, process, technology, what goals we need to accomplish. We did that process at Symantec. It was a 6-month process. Super detailed, and I learned a lot. Coming out of that, as I was reflecting, I thought this absolutely needs to be part of my playbook for everything I do. But then I realized quickly that you can't get into doing a zero-based budgeting planning cycle every year as a company. Too detailed, takes too much time, and you're involving almost half the company. I basically said, all right, we're going to do this thing called the hybrid zero-based budgeting. This might resonate with you. When we go through budgeting cycles, and by the way, I'll raise my hand, I do it a lot as well. Say you spend $100 this year, and you're thinking about the budget for next year. Your initial thought process is, I'm spending $100 this year. I'm growing the business X%. I need Y dollars next year. So your thinking is what I call incremental thinking. The hybrid zero-based budgeting philosophy basically takes you away from incremental thinking and kind of asks you, step one of the process is, you have $100 this year. Why don't you figure out what you're going to stop doing? And that's a very important part of our planning cycle where, okay, these are the few things I'm going to stop doing. You free up some dollars because you're going to move away dollars from that activity. Then you think about how much incremental dollars you're going to invest. So that's the process we go through. It still follows the 4 pillars, but as part of building the operating plan, you're really thinking about what are you going to stop doing. That was part of our DNA at my prior company. In this company, we'll generally go through that cycle, and obviously a lot more work. But as you're kind of approaching it, it's important to get alignment with the executive team. In every company I've done this, the executive team has been aligned and actually excited to do it because it gives them better visibility into their areas of spending and how they're allocating their resources.
It's a simple but powerful reframe to start with what are we not going to do, and then to use that budget to fund the other stuff. How are leaders at leaning into that, giving up stuff that they were doing before or saying, you know what, I don't need that anymore?
For a lot of folks who've not done it that way, it's a little bit of a change, but that's fine. As long as you can articulate why you're doing it, I think it makes a huge difference. And as part of our process every year, we had this call. We used to get our top leaders in a room. And that was my opportunity to articulate why we are doing it. The message every year used to be the same message. Repetition does not spoil the prayer, as I say. That is the same message, and helping them answer the why. So once you get that, you're willing to dig in, you're willing to spend more time, ultimately with the objective that the output is positive.
Rohan, if there's somebody listening to the podcast and I said, I want to give this a try, but I feel like the leaders are going to ask for some sort of guidance, is there a percentage that you encourage people to peel back before they ask for incremental spend? Do you go to them and say, hey, we're looking for 20% off here before we start moving forward?
No hard numbers. What we've also learned is if you don't have hard numbers, typically the output is all the $100 I was spending is super strategic and critical. To your point, you draw a line somewhere, and depending on your organizational comfort level, draw the line at 15%, 10%, 20%. You need to start somewhere. Even if you go from 0 to 10, that's a huge win. Trust me, it's a huge win because, you're reallocating. And the message is clear. I'm not going to take the money away from you. I just want you to rethink how you're allocating your dollars. Are you allocating your dollars to the highest ROI areas of your respective businesses? So once you give them confidence that you're not taking the money away, but as an exec team, when you have your annual planning reviews, we will all be making sure that we go through your list and understand what you're stopped doing. That's always a good start. Start anywhere. Start at 5%, 10%. It's better than zero.
I've seen a lot of FP&A tools, and Aleph is one of the few that gave me that aha moment within minutes. I remember watching their founder, shout out to Albert, connect my NetSuite data and build me a full P&L live in minutes. Aleph is now trusted by hundreds of leading companies. I've had the CFOs from Turo, 8Sleep, Zapier, and more on the pod, and every one of them is a huge advocate. I also just published my second annual CFO Tech Stack report, and Aleph has been on the podium both years, including a #1 finish in the $50 to $100 million segment this year. Instead of being just another planning tool, they built a real enterprise-grade data foundation for finance, implemented at startup speed with AI-native workflows woven into its DNA. All your systems, ERP, CRM, HRIS, ATS, product usage, and more, powering one clean, governed data layer that finance can actually trust. And with AI moving as fast as it is, they're pushing even further. MCP, custom AI chatbots, AI-powered variance analysis, and the list keeps growing. Try it with your own data at getaleph.com/run. That is GETALEPH.com/run. Tell them CJ sent you.